Hi, have you ever wondered what it means to be an authentic leader? Or have you ever heard the term authentic leadership and just wondered what does that mean? Well, today that's what we're going to talk about. Welcome back. I'm Debbie, and this is Behind the Scenes, where I spill the tea or give background information that you might not know about, but always wondered about. So, welcome back. All right, today, being authentic or authentic leadership. How do we get there? So, first, I wanted to define exactly what authenticity is, what it means. And it's the degree to which your actions and behaviors align with your true self, your core values, and your beliefs. So, essentially, is what you're doing every day aligning with who you really are as a person? That's the big question. There's a very famous book called The Top Five Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware. She was a nurse, and she, through her nursing journey, figured out that there were top five things that people who were getting ready to die found as their top regrets. And those were: one, not living a life true to themselves; two, working too hard; third is not having the courage to express feelings; the fourth thing is losing touch with friends; and then the fifth thing was not allowing themselves to be happier. Today, in the topic of authenticity and authentic leadership, we're going to focus on that first item, which is not living a life true to yourself. But that also bleeds into not having the courage to express feelings. So we'll get into that now. All right. So, what is authentic leadership? How does a person achieve authentic leadership? Quite simply, it starts with you as a person. How do you achieve being an authentic person yourself? For me, I set goals every year, and come December timeframe, around that timeframe, I sit down and I think through, what is it I really want to work on in the following year? What in my life do I feel I need to change? And one year, several years back, maybe it was probably post-COVID timeframe, because COVID was just one of those periods of time that really let all of us know um, that certain things needed to change and that things weren't maybe the best that they could be. And so at that time, I was setting up goals, probably going into 2021, around that time frame. And one thing that just stood out to me was that I wanted to be truly authentic to myself. What that meant to me was I didn't want to continue behaving certain ways just because it made other people more comfortable, or that's what they wanted. For me, the version of not being authentic was, in order to keep peace, I would not react, or I would not express the needs that I had, or whatever the case was. That bled over into work, where at any time of day or night, I could be on meetings. I was taking meetings at that time at 3:30 in the morning, my time. There were just no true boundaries there. And I thought I was doing the right thing because, of course, I was working to achieve goals at work and do the best that I could there. But the reality was that it was all a reflection of me doing things that other people wanted, and I was not considering how I felt about those things. Now, it could have been that I could have been in tune with my authentic self and my own needs and wants, and I still may have gotten up at 3:30 in the morning for meetings, depending on what it was. It doesn't mean that I wasn't going to do that, but what I am saying is that silencing how I felt for the sake of other people and how they felt, and prioritizing their wants over my own needs, was a reflection of me not being true to my authentic self. So at that time, end of 2020, going into 2021, all I wanted to do was just make sure I was being authentic and true to me. Now, my particular journey took therapy and talking through things with somebody who could give me a realistic and clear perspective on life. And then I had something to compare my life to. That was very helpful. And I recommend, if you're not sure where the boundaries should be or what is normal versus not because of your particular circumstance, Therapy is one of those things that really helps with that. That's just the journey I went on. But what I ended up getting out of that was a very strong desire to be alone, basically to be by myself. And what that did for me is, and I recommend if you haven't had the chance to just spend time alone in your life, if you've always been surrounded by people in relationships, whatever the case is, and you haven't had the time to be alone and really reflect on what feels good to you in terms of an environment, or like how do I recognize a peaceful environment or something that makes me feel good inside, I recommend you have a chance to do that. Even if you're working and you're busy going, and you're on business travel, if you're on business travel, that's an opportunity to be by yourself if you want to. You don't have to take up time meeting with other people 100% of the time, right? That time alone in your hotel room could be some of the best alone time ever. But the point is, in that alone time, you should really start paying attention to what feels good to my body, what actually feels good in terms of keeping me calm mentally or helping me feel emotionally safe or okay. Through that process, through my process, I ended up spending quite a bit of time alone, and I got really, really familiar with me and with the signals that my body gives when my boundaries and the things that go against my true authentic self are starting to get threatened. For instance, that weird stomach ache that you might get if somebody wants you to do something and you start to feel pressure. The fact that you're feeling pressure is your body telling you that's probably not okay and you need to look out. This might be a violation of your own authentic self. But you should work on you first and being true to who you are. And that is where true authentic leadership comes from. It comes from a healthy you. So once you've figured out you, then in order to be an authentic leader, it actually comes pretty naturally from that standpoint. Okay. So then what does authenticity end up looking like after you've spent time with yourself, learning yourself, understanding yourself? Number one, it looks like healthy boundaries. Once you know who you are and what's true to you, then anything that comes at you that doesn't feel right, you're going to easily be able to identify and understand that that's a boundary that's being threatened or somebody is trying to cross. Now, what I've also learned is that once you understand your boundaries, it makes you confident. That's the second point. It gives you confidence about being able to say, this is not okay with me. Let's talk through this, or this is not okay with me, and here's why. We need to adjust and then move forward from there. So, one, it helps you establish those healthy boundaries, but then it gives you the confidence to maintain those healthy boundaries, which is super important. And you can do that in a way that is it's almost like removed. It's not, I don't know how to say it, but almost like the emotion is removed from the discussion. You're not feeling like you're attacked and you're on the defense because you already know you and you know what's okay and not okay. And you're just going to simply express what's not okay and what's okay. The third way that authenticity presents itself is through transparency. And that's kind of related to the last thing I just said. If there's some type of violation toward you, or an attempt at a violation toward you, you're confident enough to say that it's not okay, and you're transparent enough to say why. And this, of course, the level of transparency is going to vary depending on who you're dealing with and what type of relationship it is. But just in general, so many benefits of being authentic. And not only that, you don't have to be one of those people at the end of your life regretting not being true to who you are. So once you're authentic and you figured that out for you, not to say that you can't also lead people while you're on your journey. I led people while I was on my journey, and I approached them with as much honesty and transparency as I could throughout that process. But once you figure out also how to be authentically you, then that translates into your leadership role. And the way that happens is you start to really build trust within your teams, it's quick. People will notice very, very quickly if you do what you say you're going to do. If you say something and don't do what you said you were going to do, they will forgive you forgetting to do what you said you were going to do, as long as you consistently are following through, doing what you say you're going to do. You're living the way that you're expecting them to live, performing, etc., that type of thing, not in their lives, but at work. If there's an expectation that you're setting for them, they want to see it out of you. And part of being authentic is just that. You are behaving in the way that you would expect other people to behave, or the way that you're communicating that you behave. So, one, you build trust in your team. You can't help it. The second thing you do is, as you're doing this and you're building trust, you foster respect. There's a lot of respect that comes not only because you understand boundaries and you respect your own boundaries, you will also respect other people's boundaries. Now, there are those people out there, those managers and bosses, who nearly behave like they feel like they own you. And those folks have not figured out healthy boundaries. They want to get whatever they can get out of you, or they might expect that you do what they say because of who they are. And yes, there is a level of respect that you have to, give somebody an authority, for sure. But if you are somebody who's an authentic leader and you recognize boundaries on your own, you're going to respect the boundaries of your employees. And that respect that you foster within a team environment creates a ton of team cohesion. It also creates trust between team members, because you're setting the tone for what's expected in that environment. Okay. So, one, you build trust. Two, you foster respect, which then, three, creates cohesion. And all those things are really great, right? To have this high functioning, well-rounded, very cohesive working team, that's great. But let's just be clear, at least from what I've seen, it's been my experience that not everyone knows how to react to somebody who is authentic with who they are. Just because you're good with who you are, and just because your team knows you, trusts you, and they are working to do their best for you, it doesn't mean that you're not going to run across people over time who will not appreciate that. And it's kind of interesting. In my experience, it's been that I have been the person who, in many cases, will speak up if there's something that I see that's not right. I don't do that in a negative way, but I'm known as somebody who speaks up if I feel there's something wrong. And my team loves that because they feel that they're being represented appropriately. I do it because if something's not sitting well, or if I see an issue pending that maybe nobody's thinking of, I will mention it so that it can be considered, right? But that behavior is sometimes not really understood or appreciated. And there are sometimes norms in the business world that are very prescriptive. And sometimes you don't fit that norm if you're being authentic to yourself. That's the reality. But the way that I think of it is, what would I rather do? Would I rather be true to myself and true to those around me, responsible to my teams, and transparent, and just truly who I am personally every day? Would I rather do that and face a little bit of conflict or maybe lack of understanding from some people? Or would I rather fit a mold? Would I rather continue to fit a mold that somebody else has defined based on no information whatsoever, so that I can make them happy or fit in wherever? I think the answer is no, I would not like to do that, because that's not really what I've done. And I can say that I don't regret it, and I don't think I ever will. And I don't think that you would regret it either. Honestly, one of the 5 regrets were working too hard anyway. And so just keep that in mind. If you're looking to be an authentic leader, it is going to take courage. Okay. It's going to take courage to be who you are and who you were meant to be, and to truly put yourself out there in that way. But your teams will really react well for it, and you'll be happier as a person for having done it. So, with that, that's what I wanted to talk about today. It's kind of a heavier subject. I would recommend, if you are struggling with that and trying to figure it out, definitely talk to a third party who can give you some realistic views on things that you're dealing with, to let you know whether or not you need to change something, and maybe give you some advice on how to, if you're not there yet. But overall, I wish you the best. And if there's anything that you want to talk about on this channel, I would like to hear it. Please mention it down below. And of course, if you like this, please subscribe. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.